going over there. But yeah, this is where I'm saying you will have an audit trail, bills, charges too. And back on the actual group master for NOS, you're going to see this line item show up for the opposite, offsetting a transaction. So that's sitting over here, and this is now has a balance on it that you're going to see in your aging reports during the audit.
Okay. And then from here, I assume if when they come in to pay these, we'll just off on the left there do payment.
That's exactly right. Just take payment.
Okie doke.
It looks just like the other screens for the most part. You do have some extra options here. It kind of depends on what you're going to print out. You want to print out an open item list because maybe they're only doing, maybe you're only taking payments for reservations from November, and this is 2 months down the road. It kind of depends how often they pay and all that.
Okay.
If they are doing something like that, then you can choose this option to offset one open, or actually make, let's see here, manually, that's the very first one, manually post a payment to a specific open transaction. You can hit the display open transactions, cash. Then you can check box which ones that the check is paying for. You'd see all the transfers sitting in here as line items, and you can kind of click through and go, oh, I'm going to pay for that one with this, pay for that one with this, and that one with that. The whole reason for that is then you could print out a statement showing what is still due, and it removes the ones that they paid for from the statement.
Okay.
But when you come down to that, let me know, and we can walk through it, properly.
All right. Okay. Last review item I had. Wilma had a question, like, let's say we charge somebody, they check out, they leave, and then 2 days later they're looking at their receipt and whatnot, and they're like, hey, I didn't get my AAA discount. I want my AAA discount. If we were to want to refund them the difference, how do we go about that? Do we submit something to you guys or to NARM, or do that ourselves?
You can do it all yourself.
Okay.
You just have to kind of put them into a state of a refund.
Okay.
So say this is a reservation. This is a checked out. Actually, this is not a checked out. Did not find the right res. Let me find tests. Okay. Here's a checked out reservation. Of course, this is the one that got billed to Group Master, but we'll ignore that fact. So maybe this amount, so we'll just act like this is the payment line. So they paid for it. Here was their charge. Done. They come back. Something was wrong with it. You need to now change the amount of the room rate that you gave them, right?
Yep.
So what you can do is post a charge. You're going to get a message saying they already checked out. That's okay. And we have one set up for this. It's the room charge adjustment code.
Okay.
You can use this to, add or reduce the room charge. So, for some reason, we needed to take $10 off of that room rate. Now, this is a single line item, so just, it kind of depends how you want to do it. Do you want to do it, per night? Maybe you needed to take $10 off per night. But also you got to think about, are you going to print this folio? How are they going to view it?
Right.
But really, it's like, what do you want the guest to see? You just want to see a single line item with the amount taken off, or you do need to post one of these for each night with each night's taken off, and then change the description to be more detailed for the guest. Just kind of got to know your audience at that point. But either way, the outcome's all the same. So say we just reduce it by $10. I'm going to add a list just so we can see that it's going to show you. Oh, in this case here, that was there was a non-text group, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. So it should come off. It should act the same way based on
the tax code.
The tax code, which is like, can you even see it up here anywhere? Tax code's hanging out. I can't even see it from this screen, it looks like. But if you're wondering why something doesn't happen, then go back and look at the tax code on the reservation. Let's go ahead and post or save this list and close.
Okay.
And now you can just go back and refund that to the guest with the existing card that's on file, most likely.
Okay.
Gonna keep getting that little pop-up. I just look for the right tab here. You're on the group. It's kind of being a little goofy because we have the that group account, everything being going to it. This transfer to group.
Okay, doke.
But I'm gonna do the refund over here. Well, actually, I'm not. Gotta watch. This is a bad example. I shouldn't have used it. Notice down here at the bottom, my room charge adjustment's flagged with an M.
Right.
So we'd have to actually take it over here, or else we'd end up with a mismatched payment for a charge.
Right.
If I did it on this one, it'd be on the I folio. What about here? Bad example, my fault. And then just take the $10 back, or send it back to the process refund.
Okay.
In my example there, I kept everything on the M. That way I didn't end up with half on one folio and half on another folio. You gotta watch that sometimes when you start getting into these folios.
Right.
That if you refunded it on an A folio, then take the cash or whatever set the refund on the same folio.
Okay.
You can always come back in and like change them around, like by highlighting hitting change and then getting in here and then moving this around. So if you accidentally put it on the wrong one, you can just rearrange it.
Cool.
Because what you'll end up in the end is you'll notice on your charge summary that you'll end up with like, oh, I had $10 on the master and I had a $10 payment over here. So the two aren't offsetting each other for a total of 0 coming down this summary. Even though one's a positive, one's a minus. Looks a little funny when that comes into that play.
Okay. Alright, so then the last thing I have is if you could do just another quick run through of the audit process, what that looks like.
Okay. Well, I don't have the notes up in front of me, but reset availability should be the first on the list. If I can get that little pop-up to go away from the side. There we go, reset availability. And remember, this is one, so really the first step of the audit is make sure everybody's out of the system.
Yeah, and you
You're the only one.
Give them a warning or disconnect them all yourself.
If you click this lock RDP and notify users, it's going to, if anybody's on the system, it's going to pop this little guy up for this length of time.
Right.
And, or sorry, this length of time, I should say. And it gives them this many minutes to get out nicely before it kicks them out.
Right.
Okay, so I sent that out. If for say, you know you're alone, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can hit this view RDP when users, check to see if anybody else is in the system. You should just see yourself here. If they are, and you know they're gone, just right click on them and delete the user lock. And then I come down and reset the availability. If that still says, hey, somebody's still in the system, that's where you go ahead and use this disconnect all users button right here, and that kills any open connections that may have been out there, and then just go right to trash.
Okay.
Those are in the notes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then that's just a log that shows that everything finished.
Yep. This just goes through what you're looking for is status complete at the bottom. If it says anything else like status, 3 errors found, or I can't remember what the actual wording is, then you'll want to make sure you print this out and then have somebody look at it in the morning.
Okay.
Because typically this is, an auditor, somebody who's not going to probably know how to address whatever the issue is. It'll show the issue up here in the lines somewhere if there is a problem. Typically it's if you rearrange your room types or numbers or did something like that, you'll get it.
Okay. And then do you have a fax number, or should we scan an email better for sending something like that?
You just open up a new ticket, like a support ticket, if that's the case.
Oh, okay. Right, there you go.
Pretty rare, but then I just have you open up a sport ticket in the morning. You could take a picture of it if you had that means, or you can just type out whatever it said and have us call you.
Okay.
Whatever it is. Something brief is typically fine. But just don't let it hold you up.
Right.
And if for some reason you can't get the reset availability to run, it just keeps saying keep working the system even though you've used all your tricks. Just, bypass it, get your, go ahead and do the rest of the audit, get your day rolled, and then let us know that something is keeping you from running reset.
Okay.
Okay? Don't let it be the end all whenever a step breaks.
Okie doke.
Okay, so that ran, close. You just see what's on our list here. Or you can tell me if you've got a list in front of you.
Next one was clean up files, the transfer to history thing.
Okay, yeah, run transfer to history, then the house status stuff, okay. Clean up files is just another one of those, just maintenance of the system. This won't do anything for a little while. Hit transfer to history, though. Don't take it out of your notes or else you'll never, ever do it again. Click the transfer all reservations button. This says it uses a lot of system resources, so don't do this in the middle of the workday. But for you, it should take about 1 second.
Right.
You don't have a lot going on yet. If you let this sit for 5 years, then you hit the button, yeah, you might take everybody down.
Okay.
But then just hit close. So quick step, just keep it in the notes though. It will start working eventually.
Yep.
So after that, we have you going over to just look at the house status screen, just make sure everybody's where they need to be, which is at the very top here. So at this point of the night, everybody should either be in-house, and that's really about it. You shouldn't have any arrivals showing up unless you just have somebody who hasn't shown yet. And how you take care of that, I don't know, do you have a procedure that you want to put into your notes, possibly? A no-show?
Yeah, no-shows. We typically...
The actual no-shows line here is a no-show from the night before. Now it's truly a no-show in the system.
Okay.
If I had arrivals sitting here, and I went ahead and rolled the date forward, then these 2 arrivals would now become no-shows if I went back to the screen after my date rolled.
Okay, so it automatically flags them when you roll the date. Okay.
It just knows that, hey, their arrival date is now in the past, and they're no longer an arrival, really.
Okie doke.
They're just categorized, and they're not checked in, so now they're a no-show. So you can work from this screen. Just click, each one of these is a button. So just click on the button. You can just make sure they're where they need to be. So in this case here, I had 2 arrivals sitting out there, and there are ones that I know did show up. Somebody just forgot to check them in. You could just highlight them, go over to check them in. Work right from the screen. You can work. That's fine.
Okay.
And so that's that. It's really just making sure everybody is where they need to be.
Okay.
Getting on there. So if you needed to, if you had an arrival, you could open it up here, just double click on it, and change the dates. Maybe they called you, like, oh, nope, they're not coming in until tomorrow now. You can change the arrival date till tomorrow's date. If you didn't want to, have it show up and make it a room available tonight if you had a walk-in.
Okay. Alright, and then next item is post room and tax and incidentals and all that.
Yep, so now you're just running through actual, utilities. So post-nightly charges is next.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, post-room and tax incidentals. Yeah, that was the, that one there. Sorry, let me go to that one. I thought we were onto the final step there. That was click on that list and then go to post-nightly charges.
Yep. Okay.
And then hit review. So yeah, that got missed. It warns you again that you have some no-shows.
Okay.
Shows you the checked-in reservations that have items that need to be posted to the reservation.
Okay.
I mean, they're already sitting on the reservations. All it's doing is taking the little star off of the pre-posted flag, and now it becomes a live item that goes into your accounting.
Alright.
That's really all it does. So this shows we'll post okay, and the room will be dirty. So this is the process that does change the rooms to dirty as they go through.
Okay.
So the review just allows you to, take a quick peek, see if everything's all right. And you can also check if you want to look at the standard versus actual rate. That's another item that a lot of guys will take a peek through, because the actual rate is the one that you're posting to the reservation, and the standard rate is what the computer calculated it should have been on that night. So you can see overrides, what you're really...
Okay. Now, for that point of sale one, we collected some money on that one, didn't we?
Well, this is for room and tax, what you're posting here.
Okay.
Nightly charges.
Okay.
It's just gonna show up as a line item, a no calc here, because there are no room charges associated with it. So that's all this is doing, is just room revenue.
Alright.
If you're thinking about incidentals, possibly, do you get receipts or anything from other sources, or do you check against, or not?
Nope.
To then post. Okay. They don't have a restaurant that closes and you got to go and post room charges manually back onto reservations.
No.
Okay. I think that's why we took that out. That's okay. So now I'm just gonna hit the post button. Hit that. Get the same warning again because I still have 2 no-shows. I'm just gonna say yes to go through it. It's fine. And now, posting successful. That's what you're looking for. And the room became dirty.
Okay.
You can print this off if you want to, but it does store a copy. If you go back into the post nightly room charge screen, you can go look back and look at old copies. So, no need to actually print it unless you really want to.
Okay. Next up was verify posted charges, payments, balance the cash drawer. And that was the transaction by range support, looks like.
Alright, so that's going through now, and you want to pull those reports.
Mm-hmm.
Order reports. Those will be in the night audit folder. Got our transactions by range report. This is the one that's going to show you every item that happened throughout the day. Just pick today's date. It should automatically go to it if you're on the right, if the system's on the right day. But in our case here, we're back in October. Probably October 19th still.
Yep.
So we're just one long shift throughout the day on this, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And you can do a range, obviously, but not required most of the time. It's going to show you every single transaction that took place, and it's got them categorized based on the codes. So there's the room charge that happened automatically. Then here's that adjustment we did for that $10 example. And then the gift shop, food charges, vet fees, all that stuff. And here's how you go through the pages up here at the top, little arrow button.
Okay.
And this does include all the cash and check payments. This is every single thing. So
Perfect.
they will be on here as well.
Perfect.
They're just broken up into card categories, like you would get if you ran the credit card report.
Right.
Credit card report's nicer for balancing your credit card system.
Okay.
But that shows you every single thing.
Okay. So that looks like what we'll print out and send over to our accountant.
Yeah, that's
Or one of
all
the
activity
things
for the
at least.
day. And then the other item, I guess it was going ahead and balancing to your credit card system, the next item.
Okay. And then the credit card payment.
And the credit card payment, let's see if, we don't have, this will be empty.
Yeah, it'll be. But that's what we would check against our Tenerum totals.
It's the easiest report to check.
Right.
You could use the ship payment report as well for it. It's just going to have cash and checks in it as well.
Okay.
And I think this one breaks it down better. Can't tell here, but it should group it by Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and you can easily get individual totals for each card type.
Okie doke.
So if that's the way Tenerum is displaying it, it's an easier way to look at it sometimes.
All right.
That's the preference at that point, really. You could use the ship payment or the credit card one. I've had people just transactions coming through, and it gets kind of hard to figure out if something's missing. You can use the credit card when
Right.
you can say, oh, it's a Visa. Okay, now I can just narrow it down to the Visa section to figure out which one it is instead of looking through page after page.
Perfect.
Although I'm sure you're not going to be crazy like that.
Summer comes around.
True. Yeah, I guess it does, yeah.
All right. And then it looks like the last item is close day. Or, well, it's batch out the credit card system, but that's not
Yeah, we'll
you
have
guys.
to go
That's
through
Tanarum.
and write up your own instructions for the Tanarum one.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
I don't exactly know what that looks like. And then the close day is just actually just hitting the close day button here. And that's just going to run through. You should never have to touch this right here. It
Yeah.
should always be on the right day. So just look at it, make sure it is. The only time you really have to take a peek at that is if you have multiple people who could be closing the audit to make sure they didn't beat you to it.
Okay.
And you get a pop-up here that's, once again, double check. This thing runs through, posts any transactions for the day into your accounting ledgers. Then it runs through and does an internal audit report, which saves to our server. So if we ever need to get back to that for any reason, you can holler at us. We can go dig it up for you. This is the slowest part, actually, is this report trying to save. So don't give up on it. It is doing something. Just give it a couple minutes.
Okay.
And then you'll start seeing the other fields start populating. Like the statistics will start kind of throwing a bunch of numbers in here. Then forecasting, depending on the day, we'll start throwing numbers in there. And you'll get a little message at the end that it's completed. But that's really about it. At this point, you can kind of walk away.
Yep.
There it goes.
There it goes.
And
All
that
kinds of
report may
fun
take
stuff.
longer some days than others. Just
Right.
never know.
Okay.
Depends on
There it
activity.
is. System date updated.
Yep, date moved on to the 20th. And then once it moves on to the right date, and you're past midnight, then this should be black.
Okay.
Red just means that your date here is not matching the computer date. That's
Right.
what that means. If you're coming in the morning and the date's red, you might want to roll your date forward
Yep.
or backwards. I've seen that before.
Oh dear. Yeah, they go
They
too
rolled
far.
it twice. So if that does happen for any reason, you can just immediately just go in as quick as you see something like that and move it to the correct date.
Okay.
Or if it's for some reason not allowing you to move it to the correct date, then kind of halt any actual input into RDP. I mean, you can take reservations, but don't, no transactional input, payments and posting charges. Give us a call and we can solve whatever problem it is.
Okie doke.
That's usually the biggest question people have is like, oh no, it's on the wrong date. What do I do?
Okay.
If you can move it back, do it. And then call us. That way, the quicker you get it back on the right date, the better for all employees. No need sitting around waiting for us to call you back here in 10 minutes, then everybody sits there and freaks out. So it's fine, just move it.
Okay. All right, that's everything for my agenda.